All right, folks, we are back. Hello again. Yay, we're in the finals. It's Zest versus Solar. It's one best of 5. Nobody has any advantages going into it. Except for Zerg, because Zerg's OP, am I right?
Oh, good one.
No, but ZVP, this should be pretty awesome. So let's just hop right into it. Of course, big thank yous to Golden, who's back, by the way. He's gone for a while. Now casting for the Korean side of it.
Exactly. You can see him on the sidebar, I guess, if you know Korean or want to hear Korean.
I would love to just assume that when he's casting in Korean, it's something akin to the way he would cast in English for the trolley events, like the APM cups he used to run and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised. I know sometimes they go into casting totally serious, but I also know that sometimes they're exactly identical in their personalities.
Yeah. All right, well, we're getting into game number 1. Grand Finals here for the BTSL. This tournament would not be possible without Twitch. So when you guys hear us ask you to do the Prime stuff or consider cheering bits on the channel, we really mean it. Because without Twitch, none of this would be happening. So if you're enjoying the show, consider you maybe using that Prime sub on us. Or subbing with your own money. Either way, thank you, Twitch, for making this happen. And then big shouts to Match Arena for powering it up. $100 every single week on top of the initial prize pool. We just broached $200 thanks to those coupon code uses. By the way, thank you guys so much. But let's get into the intros. Bottom left side, play for Splice is the light blue Zerg Solar.
In the top right, as the red Protoss, he is Zest. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Nitrous Pelican for 30 months and Too Early For Me for 25 months, both resubs. What is Love and Hero out already? Ace Lude.
Nice.
But otherwise, I think we've gotten the rest of them. I remember getting Jocko, Koskila, JJ Boogie. Yeah, that's what we've done. That's what we got. All covered.
Good stuff. Okay, so Zest, I think, is a lot more of a talking point for me than Solar in this. And again, sorry, I just kind of place Grace Passive. I want to say thank you to the subs as well. But Zest this leaves me really interesting because Zest won Gameland. Gameland had really good opponents and tough games over there. But what's funny was his series versus No Regret. Now, granted, I don't think Solar plays anything close to No Regret. I don't think he will either. But it's just worth noting that, like, Zest has shown particularly off ZVP matches, even in tournaments where he wins. So it's a hard dynamic for me to say, like, oh, Zest is the worst player here. He's certainly not necessarily the worst player, but I do think Solar is probably the better player just because we've seen more consistent ZVP wins out of him.
I think Solar is the more consistent player, absolutely. Zest just looks either straight up off, like obvious mistakes, macro, micro decision making, all that, or just not as good, like simple as that. Nothing to really pinpoint to specifically.
I thought you were gonna say handsome, frankly. Also, big shout outs to the esports heroes and the super troopers in chat who are still trying to find the coupon codes. I think we've used them all up at this point, which is great, which is awesome. $205.01. I don't know how it's gonna try and split that 1 cent between the players. Everybody gets a quarter.
Oh, God. I think it just rounds up the charity.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that's what it does. But still, it's just funny to consider, like, check your PayPal. It's like, oh, I got $90 and a quarter.
2 hay pennies. Yeah.
Like, hey, why do I have pennies?
Hey, I get it. Yeah, well. Zella was made to block the wall. We have a Stargate opener into a fast third base for Zest. Kind of typical stuff on Proxima. There's Solar. I am just going to say 99% goes for Ling Hydra, then Baneling with +1.
Wow. Well, my counter argument would be Zest has a pretty good chance of getting charge lots, maybe Storm, maybe Phoenix.
I'm going to say no Phoenix.
Actually, I would say that too. Phoenix are really not that common, but charge lots are such a big part of the matchup now, and everything. I'm really curious which affected which more. So, for example, was it the fact that charge got cheaper that made them so good, or was it the necessity from Hydras getting 10 extra health? So, I mean, they were pretty good against Hydras even without the 10 extra health, but it's just two buffs that came pretty close in timing, and oh, that's bad. That's really bad.
That's bad.
So
it's really, really bad.
Like, whatever for damage on drones, and whatever for harassing with stasis traps, he needs Revelation. It's not even a question of want, he needs it.
And he's getting a second Void Ray instead of another Oracle.
Oh, this is cute.
Okay. I mean, Zest, maybe he's going to really throw in a curveball here and go for just mass Stargates in a second, but I think an Oracle is so much better. You need, you can really get away with one because you want to clear up Overlords, and maybe in a wild world they have Roaches, but yeah, if you're going to go for more than one, I have to imagine it's because you're going to add on Stargates, so one of us was correct.
Yeah, there's like an asterisk there because this. I mean, Zest, if you really wanted to, could just wall off and go for like carriers or something silly, but it is full air with the dedication of weapon upgrades. Also, just to add in here, because I really hate seeing snide little comments like this in chat. I know it's one person, loud minority, and all that, but guys, as much as people want to get on my case for peddling about money, or we're always talking about sponsors or trying to sell out. The thing is, for 4 years, I've watched organizations come and go. I've watched people lose out on money and die off. There's a reason BaseTradeTV can put on up to 3 events a week, no problem, and we're still going 4 years strong. And that's because we know how to represent our sponsors and properly get money to the players. So if you would like to be snarky about it, by all means, go ahead. It's your opinion, and I'm not asking you to change. But at least be aware that in doing so, we're bringing you more content for free. You're not paying to watch this. There's no gate on it whatsoever. We don't even ask for like subscription for high quality settings. So kindly check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly.
But man, Mass Void Ray, this is something that can actually be very, very good. Except if somebody has like a lot of infestors and queens, which is kind of what Solar's doing with this. Queens outrange Void Rays, which is already really silly to begin with. You put a fungal growth on it to lock it down, add in the transfuses, and as much as you might think Hydras or Mutas should be like the anti-air you're looking for, it's absolutely all about the Queens, especially if there's no support. Man, Queens are so good. 6 infestors too. Oh god.
Very useful to have. We do have Zest adding on charge lots as well as Archons.
Get those Overlords the hell out of there, Solar!
It's scary. Solar breaks down Zest rocks before he even breaks down his own. So weird.
You know, one of the first times I ever played Protoss, I tried going Void Rays, because, you know, I was a big fan of Arthur, right? I quickly learned that, like, 20 Void Rays can be easily out-transfused, even if they're single targeting, like, one target now.
I mean, as someone who goes Mass Queen, I know how effective they are.
You and I are the opposite sides of this coin, man. I like the Storms. I like the possibility of Templar just for feedback on said Queens too. If your focus is on the Void Rays, not to mention the Infestors, there's so much going against what Zest is doing, and Mass Void Ray when paired with a mothership, paired with the carriers, right? Like, there's a lot of ways these are great, but just on their own, no. This is like someone just going pure Ultra. You're like asking for trouble with no support.
Well, that's why he's adding on all these important things, upgrades, Storm. Probably, if the game really is going to go on for a very, very long time, probably add on, you know, Mothership and carriers.
That's annoying. He's got no way to clean up that lane. He's got to build a cannon.
Can't build. Doesn't have an Oracle. Stupid Oracle.
I don't know how I feel about this. Neuroparasite's got some interesting dynamics and some cool potential, but I don't think he needs it. I really don't. I think, like, fungal growth alone should be Gucci. But maybe he does one of the cool tricks. You know, we've only seen foreigners really pulled off. Neural Parasite at Templar, feedback the other 3 Templar, laugh as your opponent has no storms.
I laugh when my opponent has no storms.
So, like every time you're playing versus Zerg, you're just laughing your ass off?
Yeah, of course. I mean, actually, sometimes, to be honest. I think Storm is a very useful tool to have. Good skill.
Oh, Vipers. Yo, it's weird for Solar to be going so many energy-based units. Like, forget the Queens. I'm not counting them in this equation. But, like, 6+ Infestors, 3 to maybe even 5 Vipers. And all Zerg just avoid this because of the threat of Templar. Not even because Templar are, like, there to feedback them. Just the threat that they might be makes energy units not worthwhile. So, for Solar to do this, I wouldn't call it risky, but it's definitely bold.
I think it's necessary. I mean, we watched so many games in ZVP where there's the whole Hydra bust into a late game, and that's a very different pacing to what this was. This was like skyrocket to the late game, and even more so as Zest is on a fleet beacon. But even in those games where they're hesitant to get Vipers and Infestors because of the feedbacks, it's warranted, but that just leaves their army with a lot less potential to actually take a fight. There aren't the mass fungals, there aren't the abducts, there is no neuroparasite. At least this way, if everything worked out absolutely perfectly for Solar, his Ultras and Banelings take out the High Templars, and then he can start chewing away at those really powerful units with the spell units. This is an ideal world, though, and that's kind of what I feel has to happen for the Zerg a lot of time.
Right, that's what I was going to get at. Like, that sounds really good, but it's also like a very big hypothetical.
It's like pretty unlikely.
9 Infestors. I'm really curious about these Infestors. So there is an observer. He knows about them here. Hopefully he pulls us back to keep it safe. I'll do just that. Feedbacks are going to annihilate them. They can't even get close. He knows it too, so he stops dead in his tracks the second the first two go down. But man, feedback is so cheap. Nerdshio talked about this at DreamHack with me, and I think one of the problems with it is not that it kills a unit instantly. Nobody cares about that. It's the fact that you can kill like 9 units with it instantly, right? Like, well, 4. But
yes.
Still, it's a very cheap spell, so there's not a lot of repercussions to reaching out like that and slapping down those spellcaster units. There's
not much of a counter to it, other than trying to kill the High Templars. You know, Burrow takes I guess, a kind of a counter until they get Revelation especially, or in this case just have an Observer in a good position. But otherwise, like,
the fungals are good. Parasitic bombs layered in on top of this, but the Ultras are getting fried alive. Oh, Solar may be over-dedicating.
Yeah,
Queens get in here, but no transfuses on the Ultras. Is a little bit late to the party. Nothing to stop the Immortals. Queens can transfuse for days, but he's just buying time.
Kudos to Zest for getting Immortals before he added on anything, like, for getting Immortals at all, I suppose. He added 3 Immortals from 3 Robos before that fight happened.
Dude, Carriers on deck. This is going to get worse and worse.
Solar just made a pretty game-ending attack there. All those observers go down, and that's maybe... Okay, there we go. Saves at least one. But that's still a very scary army, and Solar had to just emergency fill up whatever he could.
You know what? I'm just thinking on it, too. The combination of units he's gone for here, I actually really don't like Ultras. We're talking about the splash damage chipping away, sure. But, like, Ravagers may have actually been more effective, all things considered.
I do wonder why those haven't come back. I guess the chances of getting them perfectly fungled in a group is still pretty low. But another army just kind of melts here. This time taking out a bit more of Zest, though. Well, like, you see the ground army's entirely gone. Even then, Zest was moving to Carriers, and Solar has exhausted any money he has, any bank he has. So it's not going to be an emergency Hydras. There's not going to be emergency Corruptors. His anti-air is going to consist of, like, Queens and Fungal Growths. Yeah. But I think he's going to have enough time to get that income again. He certainly has consistent income with so many bases and 86 drones, and Zest does not feel like pushing on to creep in the middle of Proxima. And he's going to want to wait for him to be maxed out. That's still a scary situation. The Zerg, yet again, having to deal with a late-game maxed-out air army with storms. You don't want to do that. You want to have the remax and just kill them after a fight. But you didn't die either, so Solar's going to have to live with that and try and figure out a way to defeat this growing carrier count. Yeah, the Corruptors are not a bad choice. If there was less Void Rays, Corruptors would have been like the easy choice a long time ago too, even just for the Mothership, but these Void Rays were a really good threat to said Corruptors. You know, he did it earlier, actually previous series, they just beat Verstraxi. I would love to see Nidus from play come out behind this, the Bros facility to see. I don't really think the best course of action is ever going to be taking this army head on. Even with parasitic bombs and fungals and potential neurals, all these things considered, Zest wants to take an army fight. Solar's got mobility on his side, and whether it's Ling Rumbais to the side of the map or maybe a Nidus Worm through a Kamikaze Overlord to the main, like, I'd say cut the legs out from under Zest instead of trying to kill Zest. Might be the better option. Oh my god, that's so many cannons. Good luck getting in here. Yeah, that's well defended. It's always such a good idea watching from third person and seeing all the open opportunities, but in this game especially, you know, in any other games where it's that slow build up to the late stage, there just isn't a bank for such a committal like that, like a Nidus Worm or a bunch of units being thrown around for harassment.
Okay, even going somewhere cheaper, like 1 drop Overlord with 8 Adrenal Gland Lings takes out most of the pylons powering these buildings, right? I look at it kind of like if you're fighting versus Terran who's mech. You go for their production more than their army most of the time. But it's not wrong that he isn't. I'm just saying we saw this sort of similar dynamic for a while, and then Hyun versus mech and Hot started doing that, and it worked. I'm just wondering if that'll be the case here for versus Protoss, because I feel like now we're on 6+ months where Protoss gets to the air army and Zerg players are slamming their head against walls. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah. I guess it really is just more of a... Is it really worth it? Like, it might literally be worth it 8 Lings for 8 pylons or something extreme like that, but in the grand scheme of things, Zest just calmly replaces those and has a bigger, better army. I think for the Zerg player, it's not so much about thinking about, like, oh, I could get around this army, or I could do a lot of damage. It's like, well, even if I do, what do I do about the army? Because they're going to counterattack me, and I might still be screwed, even if I only dedicated 16 Lings to this.
I hope when we're at Atlanta, I remember to grab one of these players and just ask them about it, too, like their thoughts on, like, yo, for late game ZVP, this scenario arises. Why is this a bad idea? Or why don't people do this? And it's not because, like, to be clear, I'm not thinking I'm some genius who's figured this out. It's just we look at the history of StarCraft 2 and the way people have tackled not this situation, but similar situations.
Let's not forget that Hyun was famous because he sent 25-something infestors into that night as well.
Yeah, it was all infested Terrans coming out, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
so...
actually, on that same note, like, consider swarm hosts as another hypothetical, right? Like, just non-committal units that make free units.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind that idea either, I think. But it does come all down to, does that do enough damage to warrant them potentially attacking me and killing me?
Okay, so this goes really badly for Solar's Banelings because the second Templar did get a storm off, but still busts through that cannon wall, gets to the mineral line. Meanwhile, looking for some engagements on the other side of the map, he will take out the Void Rays. They were left unattended while the rest of his army goes to respond over here.
He still takes out quite a few Corruptors, though, especially if you're overcharged.
I think it's a lot harder to take out Void Rays than it is to take out Corruptors, so I would count that as a better win for Solar. Now, suiciding these into the carriers, I don't agree with at all. Like, yeah, we took a fight. Let's keep going. Keep that momentum.
Well, that's what you hope to do as a Zerg player, but no, that's not going to work out there.
24 Corruptors coming out behind this. I am tentative to like this move. Because those are all still going to die to Archons and Storms.
Right. And I think that's, you know, when I look at this and I'm thinking about that problem, and Solar's looking at this and thinking about that problem, like, cool, I grabbed like 6 Void Rays. That was an awesome move by me, but did it really even matter in the long run?
Maybe Solar will just have like the sickest splits of all time.
He might. Yeah, I mean, ideal scenario there. Like, he gets the carrier Void Ray High Templar army in a single fungal, and then he gets a beautiful concave with the Corruptors. I mean, that could lead to a victory for him. That is a bold move.
There's no observer. It is certainly a bold move.
There is no Oracle. I feel like this is also the other way.
He's recalling.
I love that. That was very smart.
Well, the thing is, though, the thing he got with this, though, is he killed the Templar with the fungals.
He killed some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to oversell this, but the fact is he killed Templar, which was nice.
I don't say that just to, like, totally refute your point. I say that because it still means that he can't push in, which is, like, usually the ideal.
I really thought he was going to, like, throw down, like, a bunch of neurals. Like, you're underneath the whole army.
Yeah. Well, this is, you know...
Actually...
that's a sign of things that could come.
What was kind of messed up as a missed opportunity, if you consider there was no detection to see the infestors, take that mothership. There's no detection, period.
Good point.
Anything you would neural would actually not be detected either. He wouldn't be able to fight back.
Yeah, usually the problem with neural is that it's only limited time. Like, you get the 2 seconds to get the recall on the mothership, or you get the Archon that's moving out of position, or something like that, but it doesn't last very long. So there's some opportunities there, but missed. And I forget the point I was going to make before that, but still kind of at a stalemate.
I'm just wondering here, can you recall a mothership to like a hatchery if you neural it? Like, you can teleport battlecruisers regardless of their range. You just lose the range when they come out.
I don't think so. Every single time that we've seen a neural in a parasite mothership, Well, I guess it was the Protoss trying to recall in time, not so much the neural recalling. I don't know.
I just say it'd be so sick to send that mothership across the map. So just like that's
Right?
the best crowd
Oh.
control. Send it to the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, my point was that the lack of an Oracle. He's got Revelation trying to hit the main army, but he just hit all the static defense. But that was a really big deal. I'm glad that, 19 minutes into the game, you realized you should have made remade an Oracle, because mass infestors could have been a problem. Now they should not ever be a surprise. They should always be tagged.
Yeah, I'll have to find them first, though, because a lot of them have been kind of sneaking and skulking about the map. The Broodlords are a very interesting choice. His space keeps getting denied. The Broodlords will be absolutely necessary if we're trying to, say, snipe off the High Templar, or maybe keep the Archons back. But, I don't know. If those open the door for him to start being able to abduct, Solar can absolutely beat this army, I feel, especially with Sport Crawler supporting the ground. But as currently stands, with so many Templar guarding this army, like... Oh, it looks like it's about the carriers. It looks like it's about the Tempest, but it's these 4 Templar that are actually strongest, most dangerous part of this army.
He does have 2 backups somewhere, too, just in case they manage to get taken out by Banelings.
Small opportunity? No.
Someone has got to give here. Well, it's one of these keys. Okay.
Flash damage is cool.
They're just chilling there. I guess he meant to push them forward, get to that 6th or whatever it is, a Solar. Oh well.
But he's been under attack at the space enough times. Like actually leaving them there doesn't seem that crazy.
But against Banelings, if he that's true. An Archons.
That's true. That's true.
And maybe that was also the intention with Sturman Archons. I just think the point is he didn't realize he broke him in.
One of the really important things to note is that it's Zest who is actually pressured to attack Solar at the current moment. Both players are maxed out. They know that. Solar's waiting for his upgrades. He's going to wait as long as he can before he ever takes a real fight. And he's still mining pretty happily. Zest, however, I don't know if he's going to take another base this game. So it's kind of on him to pressure Solar.
I don't know if it's true fact, though. What's so dumb sometimes. Again, this all kind of depends on how the engagement itself goes down. Sometimes it looks like the most broken Protoss bullshit ever. And sometimes it looks okay for Zerg. Rarely does it seem like a steamroll for Zerg. But if it's the first option, that the Protoss just like absolutely just, storms are perfect, they didn't get fungal, it just absolute hell for the Zerg player, then Zest doesn't really mind not having a ton of income, I don't think.
Oh, the
he doesn't mind mining out 6 bases, right? Yeah, 6 bases have been mined out.
Oh wow, he actually got some abducts off without getting feedback. What's interesting, I actually really like this. More Overseers is just going to make targeting the Vipers more difficult, right? Like it's not. The Koreans are great. They've got precision. This is not something you would ever factor into like a newbie game. But here on the high end of things, like this could actually be the difference of him getting 1 or 2 extra spellcasts off, having 8 something Overseers being targeted by mistake.
Yes, and also just in case, just in case they had enough energy. That some of them got feedback. Don't want to lose that vision on the mothership. Cloak. Zealot's still not getting a lot done. Solar obviously is not had. He's never been pulled apart. One way to another, one way to the other. So every time Zest warps in 7, 10 Zealots, they're reacted to in time. That's probably a pointless maneuver from Zest unless he's going to start pairing up 2 or 3 warp prisms.
Well, Solar's getting really aggressive now. His 3/3 is about to finish too. Spore Crawler's right up on the front line. Corruptors can actually caustic spray the Nexus down if they'd really like, and Zest is avoiding this fight like real bad. Broodlords will eventually kill this Nexus. So where are these guys going? That's the real question.
You should be careful being apart from the army for that long.
I agree, and it's really dangerous to be on this side of it too, because there's the feedbacks, there's the storms.
He's just gonna run away.
Yeah, I don't know what Solar was doing. He went for a drive-by that led nowhere. Spore Crawlers are trading out for some of the interceptors, and Zest is not out of money yet, but this is actually really expensive for him to keep replacing these.
Solar is out of storms, though.
Well, Solar never had any.
Zest are out of storms. Solar is just chased through them, but the Void Rays still are alive. Mothership goes down.
You know what, though? Most of the Void is gone now. In fact, it looks like all of them are out of play. Corruptors are just too numerous. The carriers are they're out of interceptors. He's done it. Solar's done it.
I feel like the runaround was actually a genius play by Solar. He wasted all of his storms only getting like half a second on those corruptors, where usually they literally bathe in storms if they take a fight.
And another element to it, because I thought it was a really dumb move, but thinking on it too, those Void Rays weren't moving in on the Spore Crawlers. They were busy trying to guard the carriers against whichever direction the corruptors were going with those storms. So, like, that was really interesting watching the carriers waste all their interceptors on Spore Crawlers while the corruptors like baited out storms. There's like a lot of dynamics to that end fight that were kind of cool. But I think the fact that he had creep at his base, Spore Crawlers on his Nexus, like, Zest should never have let it got that far in the first place.
Right, yeah. Interesting stuff. It is going to be Abyssal. All right. Next map.
Well, we're going to take a quick breather. It's been 30 minutes since our last ad break. That was quite a game. We'll see you guys here in 2 minutes for Game 2 in the finals. Thanks for tuning in. All right, folks, we're back. Sorry that took a quick second longer than expected. I was finishing up an email during the ad break, but we're getting into game number 2, and oh my. All right, then, spawning the top left. Not for long, though. It's Zest with some cool proxy and mind games, too.
And the bottom right, as the teal Zerg, it is Solar.
Someone chat wants to know what the HP meter means. This is currently the bit boss, guys. If you cheer in the channel with bits, you deal damage to the boss. If you donate, deals damage to the boss. Either way, you might be wondering what's the point of being the boss. They get really cool boss powers. They get secret loot that only the boss can get by typing !boss glory. And they can also tax all the other users, taking 5% of their Tartuffes. Or Makarovs, excuse me. But none of that really matters because we have a 3-gate. No, a 4-gate. You know what?
That's right.
When I would think about the 4-gate back in the day, this is not what I envisioned it ever becoming.
So there was a period of time where Zest was just buying into the Protoss cheese, man. I mean, that's more so towards PvT. His hero brought, ushered forth the era of cheese. But he also was doing it in other matchups in the weirdest way, and this includes a 4-gate. This isn't as potentially effective as a proxy Stargate pylon rush against a Terran player, even though that can also be 100% shut down. This has a much higher chance of just being completely shut down, game over for you. Too bad doing for proxy 4-gate than most of the things Protoss can do that's cheesy or all-in-y. But sometimes the surprise factor is really the kicker, and that's what Zest is hoping for.
Yeah, you can't send in just the one zealot. He's waiting for 3 or 4 before he gets in there. Oh man, I don't know. This is so crazy. Like, and normally it's like, well, it's crazy enough to work, but I don't know if it is. Solar though isn't making a lot of lings. Queen count's not out there because they've just started. He's now gonna realize what's going on, and nobody does this build anymore. Like, nobody. So this is not something I imagine Solar's practiced against. But Spine Crawler in the back. Jones gonna try and keep these alive. Taking a whoosh J for the 100 bits to the boss damage too, but probes are even on hold position, not attacking, so they're creating some surface area for these zealots. Oh, that was so cool. But the drones surrounding the queens might be enough? I don't know, man. This is hard to call. The zealots are starting to chew through the defenses now.
The fact that the Spine Crawler is getting up is already kind of bad. Like, really, really, really bad news. Usually if that is alive and you still have more than like 10 drones, I think you're like good to go. Yeah, we'll see. 4 more zealots, constantly being produced. So is about to have speed though, and he doesn't have to stick around and deal with the zealots. Although maybe he should. He could go across the map and just kill the probes. That's
true. Zest's gonna have to start banking money for a new Nexus. Pull the probes across the map. Alright, so I like the idea of going straight across the map. I think it's better. And I also think if it comes down to it, Solar wins a base trade.
Oh, I think it's just a wall? Oh, okay.
Oh,
he originally went to the Overlord on the other side of the map, but that goes in the front.
Alright, so these lings may or may not get away with probe kills. These lings, if they kill the pylon though, that cuts out all the reinforcements. And you mentioned the Spine Crawler. Well, a lot of these zealots are already half dead. That Spine Crawler is going to have a transfuse or 2 going to it from those queens as well. No more zealots for Zest. Oh, I think that's game over. GG. Well,
it's really funny because we've actually, you might think like, well, what if he went for 3 hours before pool? We've seen even that defeat the 4-gate, so I'm not really sure when it does work.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta imagine it does though, or Zest would never go for it in the first place.
Yeah, there's got to be a couple of games. I'm pretty sure we cast one game where it did work.
Well, either way, I mean, I can also understand Zest. There's some logic to this too, where like you just got out of like a 30-minute game. Would your opponent expect something that's meant to be like a 5-minute game? Likely not, but I'm not convinced. There's no scenario where I think that move is a good move. Even though you can understand kind of the logic and the thought process and whatever you're thinking for it, I just cannot in my mind even come up with a hypothetical where I'm like, I'm glad it, you know what? No, I can't. 5 hatch before pool. There you go.
Maybe the other scenario, more realistic one, is that the Zerg player has no idea how to defend against it. I can imagine a Zerg player, you know, that just like either like underestimates it because it's so funny, or overestimates it but not in the right way. Doesn't get a spine crawler, instead invests everything into lings and pulling the drones immediately or something like that. And then maybe that's where the zealots really shine. But usually you just buy time for the spine crawler and then more queens pop out and then it's all Gucci.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the whole not knowing how to deal with it, because yeah, if Solar didn't go for that spine crawler, that actually wouldn't have been a very solid looking defense. Lings killing the pylon though and going across the map were definitely what clinched that game though, not the spine crawler.
Yeah.
But enough buying time. We're finally getting into the third map, which may be the last one. Whoosh J also 100 bits coming in, kills the bit boss. He has now become the bit boss. But Odyssey.
Yeah.
So again, best of 5 being the format, 2-0 in the favor of Solar. If you're just tuning in, this could be it. This could be the end, guys. Either way, I'm quite happy we were able to get the prize pool up to $200 today. Thanks to all of your help. So big thank you guys for doing that. Got about 300 viewers on Golden stream by the looks of it. 1,700 here. 2K for the BTSL on a day where GSL was happening at the same time as GSL. I'm okay with this.
Too shabby. Thank you to Boom TT SC2 for the Twitch Prime sub.
Nice. All right. Well, we're getting into game number 3, and it could possibly be the last one. In the top left, we got the blue Protoss on the ropes. It's Zest. Soap on a rope.
In the bottom right, as the teal Zerg, it is Solar. What does soap on a rope mean?
Zest wishes he had his soap on a rope instead of just being soap.
There you go.
He's bending over to pick it up, if you know what I'm saying.
I was pretty sure it went that direction, but I was unsure as to how. And then as soon as you said he wishes it was on a rope, then
okay, if we're gonna be real, I just meant to say he's on the ropes, but I guess I said soap on the rope, and I'm trying to make it sound intentional.
I mean, you did a good job, but then I was also confused how that would be what you would say to someone who's on the ropes.
You know, sometimes I fear that I'm a sober guy who sounds like a drunk guy trying to sound like a sober guy.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm more impressed that Solar didn't go for cheese, if we're going to be honest here for a moment. He's up 2-0, and I feel like we've cast enough Korean best of 5s recently where every single one that goes 2-0, they try and end it in game 3 with a quick cheese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely happens. But not the game played here. Solar can still take a fairly quick game if he just plays, to 3 bases with a Ling Hydra push or something like that. I'm sure he's still very confident in his ability to do that. Zest had that game where he went for a triple Stargate, sure, and it was 30 minutes, and, Solar's not up taking it, but no one wants to play that game again. I don't think Solar wants to anyway. Maybe Zest does. But on the line of Zest's thinking, I'm not sure he does it again. It was defeated, and it was also Proxima, which is the best map in the map pool for late game turtley, builds. Odyssey's not bad. Third bases aren't impossible to take, but it might not even be about a third base. What you doing, Proby? Or maybe this is a third base. Oh, he's actually banking it for 400. Just kidding.
He's gold member.
It's all about the third base. Well, this is a natural, so
he's got the golden
it's all about
touch.
that natural.
He touched too much. It's gold member.
It's a great movie.
All Austin Power movies are great movies.
That's true. The movie he made after Austin Powers was not a great movie.
Oh, the Love Guru. Yeah, that was painful to watch, frankly. And then Wayne's World was great. Then they made Wayne's World 2, right? Like, what's up with that?
Was Wayne's World 2 universally panned? I don't remember. Not liked.
Oh,
Panned by critics.
I don't know. I'm just saying, for me, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, at least.
Oh, because I don't actually know. I thought it was decently reviewed, but I don't remember.
I'm actually kind of jaded because Mike Myers is one guy to do this, but other people are guilty of it too. Where I'm never sure if a joke is a callback to the original, or they're just lazy and couldn't think of a new joke, so they reused the same similar material. Right? Anchorman did that a lot too.
Oh yeah. I don't know. He's not been doing very much. I loved one of his earlier movies though.
Dude,
American Axe Murderer.
He gets to retire off of his Austin Powers money. Okay, he's good.
Oh sure. Yeah, I really like that movie. It was such a weird movie. It actually kind of gave me like weird feelings sometimes, but yeah, it was like the first movie where like that woman was a yandere for her sister. It was kind of weird, man. Did you watch that movie before I?
No, but I'm interested.
Okay. Okay, then that sounds really, really weird. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. You should watch it.
Excellent.
Oh,
alright, Roach Warren coming down as Solar. He knows about the gold base, obviously, and, well, not much you can do about it. Excuse me, wow,
this is how you
crept
know
up on me. I don't think it's a problem that he can't deal with the gold base, because he knows that that is so segmented off from Zest. And in fact, he cancels the Roach Warren and changes it out to a Baneling Nest.
Oh, okay. Okay. Not sure why. But he's also going for the Evolution Chamber, +1. And eventually we'll see a Hydralisk. Maybe the Roach Warren was because he was afraid something was happening, and then he realized what the real jig was, like a whole gold base and not much else. So he just goes for a more standard opener.
I do really like the idea of the Banelings here. He's having trouble getting there with the links, but he's not having trouble getting to the mineral line. So just roll in with the Banelings and kill all the probes. Feels good. But wishing he had units at home.
Yeah, nasty trick here. The combination of units is especially brutal. Spore Color helps out. Queens are being pulled now, but the Depths still get 6 drone kills.
I'm still fighting off the urge to make Arrested Development references.
For
the trick.
Oh, fusions. 8 drones in total. We do have Zest adding on a lot of gateways, and this also might have been something that Solar was preparing for. I feel like Roaches are you know, beefy standard units that can take a punch and they can help out, but Banelings and Lings are really where you can deal with like mass charge lot or mass adept all-ins like instantly. Sometimes it backfires, sometimes the spread is good, and suddenly Banelings don't look as good as they should, but let's say that sometimes, or you know, 50% of the time, off of a fast gold from a Protoss or just a Twilight Council based all-in, right? Blink, charge auras and enklaves. He hasn't scouted it yet, but he did just see there was still no natural. So that Overlord might want to duck in.
Okay, Banelings tried to go off too. Those get caught pretty quick. Sorry, I just actually had the most random shower thought amazing idea. I know we were talking about the whole finish 5th thing earlier. This was in private, guys, not for on stream. But I just had an idea. What if we had a free-for-all where the first place prize was like whoever finished 3rd? I wonder how that would change the dynamic up of like people willing to fight or not.
Well,
because it's no longer the goal to turtle and win. The goal is to finish 3rd.
Like obviously the semifinals would be kind of. No, actually, even that would be interesting. I don't know.
Not even semifinal. I'm talking like it's just straight up one free for all because you got all the players in the same game. Like who's the 3rd last person to die would win or something, you know?
Those scenarios are kind of interesting. There's the split that I was talking about. Sometimes make Banelings look useless, but Solar has just like he's not just made 8 Banelings for safety. He made a lot of Banelings. He's making more Banelings.
Actually, if we did that for like 1v1 tournament format, you just see everyone start drone pulling at the semifinals.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh man, I kind of want to do that for the free for all now. Oh, the fun.
Maybe we'll give it a shot. We'll organize some. Show match is always fun, but anyways, Adepts do get cleaned up. Solar only loses 3 drones for it. He's still sitting on 60 at the back end of it. He lost a lot of mining, sure, but Zest is just. You know what? The worst part about all this to consider is while Solar moves on towards Hydras and your regular mid-game for Zerg, Zest is actually exhausting his early game Adrenaline Rush. All of this extra money he's had to throw at things like these attacks, he's not going to be able to afford that on a normal base of income because the gold's about to exhaust.
What's kind of funny about that too is that, you know, even looking right now at Zest's mineral bank compared to his gas bank, at like 30 seconds ago, it was like 1,500 to 0 or something crazy like that. He had so many minerals. He could have warped in so many more depths, but he's limited by gas income, and also he didn't have a warp prism, so it seemed a little lackluster to continue warping in when he knew your attack had died. He manages to spend more minerals and keep it a little more balanced, but...
Let's say, I guess you don't have a lot of gas when you got this many sentries.
Well, that was before he worked all those sentries, but yes, especially after he worked on the sentries. But now he's also, because the thing was that he was on 3 gas geysers. The gold base only has 1 gas. He took the 3rd base as he was moving out. It finished as he moved out, rather, and then now it's, you know, perfectly saturated, and he's going on to even a 4th, so it looks more like a typical macro game.
By the way, thank you, Plastic Pineapple Pizza. Twitch Prime coming in. 2 months. Just keep up the good work. I guess a plastic pineapple pizza is better than a real pineapple pizza because no one's trying to eat a plastic pineapple pizza, so they don't know that it's disgusting.
You just take off the plastic pineapples and you're good to go.
Oh, the whole pizza isn't plastic in your scenario. Interesting.
Ah,
That's
you guys to look at it.
a very valuable way to look at it. Also, shout out to the Big Cheese himself. 8 months of title teas. It's Artosis. Woot! Thank you for your Twitch Prime sub, man. While this goes on, though, I almost got missed on this because I was so amazed at the caliber of subs. Bailey's rolled into a base that was mostly empty anyways. Probes had been transferred back, so not that devastating, but still got a couple worker kills. Zest is in still not a great shape, though. His army doesn't really have upgrades. 1-1's on the way. I don't like that he's kind of pushing for an attack. It's out in the open. He's got sentries, but there's no mothership core for a recall. There's no warp prism for reinforcements. There's just no reason to actually take a fight with his army. Not
a truly real aggressive push there. Maybe clean up some creep, maybe have those force fields ready to go in case they do try and jump on you. I like the Colossus. I do.
Okay, so there's pros and cons to this, right? Like, this will actually be great if they're out in time. I don't think there will be. But they're only good until a point. Eventually, at some point, Lurkers, Combination, Vipers come in, and Colossus are silly again.
Right. I was going to say, like, the attack's incoming soon enough that this might not be... Well, it's what he needs, it's not enough of what he needs. Hydra's going to reach over those force fields as well, so the sentry count's intimidating. They are going down. And the 3rd base, or the 4th base, is also apparently going to die. Yeah,
even with the overcharges and the warp-ins, Solar's just got too much. The Banelings with the +2, really the most impressive part of this army, but those Hydras just aren't being quelled. Colossus comes in now, but we're almost going to see a Colossus die to Banelings.
Yeah, almost. More Lings flooding in here. Solar on 70 drones, 5 bases.
Yeah, GG.
GG.
Ladies and gentlemen, Solar will take the 3-0 sweep. Knocks the wind out of Zest and takes the series. Not so surprising, though. Like, we kind of knew this was going to happen. Solar is just the favored player, I think, of the two. Zest's not objectively bad, but Solar objectively good. Like, there's a lot to weigh against this. But for those who don't know, with the Match Arena prize and be what it is, first place was worth $92.25. So there's that weird 1 cent fucking up all the prize money. Second place was worth $41. So Zest not walking away today empty-handed. But definitely Solar gets the better end of that deal. So big thank you to both of the players for playing. Again, my sincerest apologies to the viewers that did miss the first half of this due to GSL going on. We really didn't have another day in the month we could possibly put that on for now. Things have opened up now, but only like yesterday, and we couldn't reschedule in time. So we are going to have to move the BTSL that's coming up as well, as we're going to both be casting DreamHack. So that'll be happening over the next couple nights here on the channel. I believe the start time is 3 a.m. Pacific, but I'll double check that. It's not on our events calendar because we just got the call to action, if you will. So we'll be back later tonight for it. I think it's on the Team Liquid calendar, though, if you guys want to check it out over there.
I think so.
But I think it's like, what, 4 a.m. for the first night and then 3 a.m. and then 2 a.m. for the next ones? I'm not entirely sure. But anyways...
I didn't realize it changed.
Oh, fucking Artosis is ace-Wing. I hope he hasn't found his new favorite emote. Can get paid with extra. Yeah. All right, so Solar's gonna get paid by Matcherino. He knows how it works. Of course, we'll have to make sure Zest and everyone else does too, but I think they're all used to it at this point. Big thank you to Matcherino for making the prize pool bigger and better. Thank you to you guys for using the codes for it. Thank you to Twitch for making all this possible. But we're saying thanks from really, I should say it's sponsored by, because without them, it wouldn't happen at all. So guys, anytime you prime sub, anytime you regular sub, anytime you trade bits, it goes a long way to making Twitch happy about the sponsorship of us, which is great. But we're going to take the day off and rest as we get ready to go. Of course, I'm not entirely resting. We've still got a lot of logistics for DreamHack Atlanta I'm working out. We should have a really big public announcement, official announcement later today as well. But, you know, unofficially, if you're like on the fence about Atlanta, I'm just going to say it's probably safe to assume there's going to be up to 8 PCs available for use there, despite it being BYOC. It's still recommended that you bring your own computer because there's no guarantee you get these hypothetical computers. But I'm just saying, if you know players who are on the fence about it, let them know, because I think the computers are the bigger gateway here than anything else, hypothetically. Yeah. But anyways, thank you for joining us for the BTSL. Follow the channel, damn it, guys. We keep rocking the sub count. Now we're trying to rock the follower count. We're up to 82,900 followers at the time of me saying this. I'm really pushing and grinding for 100K. I don't even know if there's 100K people who still watch StarCraft, but fuck it, we're still going to shoot for it, right? So hit the follow button, come back for the following casts. We do appreciate you for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at riff_kings. Make sure to follow BaseTrade at BaseTradeTV. My compatriot here is at ZG Gaming. And I think that wraps things up. Affiliate links down below for Corsair is always good bonus stuff. You get the Amazon links too. I think I've shotgunned everything here, Zombie. Any final words before we go?
No, see you guys tomorrow for WCS.
All right, gonna play a commercial break to end the stream. If you want to stick around and watch it, that would be super awesome. If not, have a wonderful morning or day or afternoon or night. Either way, we'll find somebody wonderful to host for you guys to keep enjoying. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.